Gene Luen Yang, Ben Oliver, and Steven Segovia conclude their world's finest team-up as Batman and Superman go up against the False Face Society and Professor Pig, who want Superman for their sick experiments on behalf of the Magistrate. Gene Yang finishes up his really great action-packed story in a pretty surprising yet logical way that continued to add some fantastic lore to the opening days of the Magistrate's rule over Gotham, and connected up to books like Harley Quinn. While the book's sole reason was to state why, apart from Gotham being cornered off as a city-state, Superman couldn't just come into Gotham and deal with the Magistrate straightforward, and Gene delved into it really well and really logical, as well as the tension it brings between Batman and Superman. More so Batman seeing as the city he spent years protecting is just slipping out of his hands really quickly and he can't do anything about it. I also like, along with all of this, it shows that Superman doesn't just solve everyone's problems for them, like many seem to think he does. He respects another hero's territory, and he even says this issue he trusts Bruce to deal with this himself. Ben Oliver and Steven Segovia's art continues to be utterly brilliant this issue, again giving us some really great and pleasing looking renderings of the world's finest, as well as some really weird looking and wonderful monster designs and creepy creatures like pigeons with heat vision eyes in their backs, which looks like something you'd see in like horror anime. Future State Batman Superman issue 2 was a really awesome conclusion to the story that dived into the opening days of the Magistrate in Gotham, as well as why Superman just doesn't come in and solve everything for Batman. I thoroughly enjoyed all of the action and weird monster designs the book had, as well as the tension-filled look at Bruce and Clark's strained relationship. I'm going to give this issue a 9.5 out of 10. Future State Batman Superman issue 2 finds the Dark Knight confronting Mr. Toad and his goons who have captured Superman. Batman demands that they let the hero go as the giant monster confronts the hero, told by Mr. Toad to make sure he doesn't follow. The monster attacks Batman, threatening to rip his limbs off, as Batman knows the mouthy villains often fall fast, but this one's anatomy makes no sense since he can't find any pressure points. Batman switches up his methods, throwing a concussion detonator onto the head of the villain and setting it off, knocking him out. Batman finds Clark has been loaded into an ambulance and carted off by Mr. Toad as he hears a slithering sound. It's too late for him as the monster's tentacles throw him from the building and into the streets, breaking his leg. Homeless people come to investigate the noise, finding the hero. Batman tells them to stay back, but they know how badly his leg has been torn up, and Superman helped them with their fire and they just want to pay it forward. Batman appreciates it, but he's fine, calling in the Bat-Cycle as he speeds off to save Superman. Clark meanwhile is taken by Mr. Toad to see Professor Pig, who is happy Toad has proven to be a worthy ally. Toad just wants Pig's Magistrate associates to keep away from his daughter as the villain plugs a kryptonite drill bit into his drill, telling Toad that he's anticipated this particular procedure for a long while. Superman awakens, learning that he is in the care of Pig, who says that he is in his art studio and he is the artist and Superman is his medium. Later, Batman stops his bike to survey the now very unfamiliar city, knowing it's changed so quickly in such a short amount of time. He focuses on the task at hand as the pain in his leg subsides as he puts on the cryogenic sleeve, one of Alfred's last inventions before he died. Looking over the files he stole from the False Face Society, he knows while the serum is peddled as a way around the Magistrate's systems, it's actually being made by the Magistrate themselves, and they must have Clark somewhere close. Superman meanwhile awakens from his surgery, asking Toad what Professor Pig did to him, but the villain tells him not to ask. Toad unknowingly pushes away the kryptonite on the table, just enough for the effects to dull ever so slightly. Superman thinks about breaking from his bonds and then breaking the villain, but he wants to give Toad another chance, saying the villain wanted to fight the Magistrate and said as much to Superman. Clark asks why he's working with them now, and Toad says that he underestimated his opponent and now he's paying the price. Superman doesn't think that betraying one's belief is the best way to protect their families, as Batman is confronted by a cyber who says he's under arrest for using a lead-lined mask. Batman easily takes down the villain with a batarang, Realizing Alfred's cryo sleeve is working wonders on his leg, Bruce knows the cyber saw that he was using a lead-lined mask thanks to its X-ray vision, as a group of rats scurry out of the helmet. Rats Batman knows are covered in eyes that look exactly like Superman's. Bruce realizes they aren't just in the cybers but all over the city thanks to pigeons, mice and even bats being affected by them. Bruce captures one of the cloned bats, beginning to study the poor creature, learning it has a chip embedded in its head that is a transmission device. Batman follows the signal, sneaking into a lab where he finds the Kryptonite and Professor Pig, who says that life is just a series of inspired follies and the difficulty is to find them to do. Batman is surprised that the villain wasn't locked up by the magistrate given their dislike for masks, but Pig says they make an exception for the surgeons. He reveals the magistrate wanted to grind the False Face Society into the ground, but he convinced them to do otherwise and found them a good way to track the dissidents with their serum. Pig activates his false face serum, morphing his hands into pig monsters as he attacks. Superman meanwhile is rescued by Toad, learning the farther they get from the lab the stronger Superman gets. Suddenly they are set upon by giant monstrous Superman monsters, which fire heat vision from their multiple eyes. Superman blocks the blast with his cape, smashing the villain in the face. The monster smashes through the wall into Batman's fight with Pig, reuniting both heroes. Batman fills Superman in on what Pig has done with the powers, suggesting that they switch opponents. Superman doesn't think that that's a good idea, but Batman knows that he doesn't have bad ideas. Pig grabs Toad. Angered, the man helps Superman escape as Batman throws the kryptonite he had inside his cape at the Superman monster, stabbing it and causing it to revert back to its humanoid form, letting Batman take the serum device from its neck. Superman is angered, saying that Pig treated him like raw material and like he had no soul, but Pig says that he made art out of the hero. Superman smashes the villain in the nose, knocking him down as he laments how Superman could have been his masterpiece. Superman tells the defeated villain that the entire facility is dedicated to the villain's sick experiments, wanting Toad to pull the fire alarm since there is about to be a fire. Listening as people file out of the building, Superman unleashes his heat vision, burning the entire building down once everyone is out safely. Clark finds Toad letting out a sigh of relief as they leave the building themselves, since he knows he bet on the man's goodness and it paid off, as Batman knows that this won't matter in the grand scheme of things, but he pushes that feeling away and focuses on the task at hand. The next day, the heroes get Animal Man to track down all of the animals infected by Pig, disabling the chips inside their heads and recuperating them the best they can. As Batty goes on about the pigeons' intelligence, Superman knows that they have crippled the magistrate's bioengineering operations. They are still active, so they need to continue the war. Batman knows that there is no we and says that he is doing this alone. He says the magistrate knows how to grow synthetic kryptonite now and it must have taken them years, so they were expecting Superman, which makes him a liability. Clark wants his friend to be reasonable, but Bruce says he always is, but Superman cannot face the magistrate because he can't see them for what they are. Superman thinks that they are terrorists, but Batman knows the magistrate never invaded Gotham. They were invited in by the people, and they have let their fear and anger overrule their judgment. Superman knows that they have to trust the people will eventually come to their senses, but Batman knows that the magistrate will just exploit them again in a different way and become unstoppable. Superman won't let that happen as suddenly Bruce fires a heat vision blast at him from one of the cloned eyes he took. Clark demands he explain himself at once, so Bruce says that these are the magistrate's genetically modified creatures and Gotham won't survive under a militia armed with Superman's DNA, so he needs to get out of Gotham. Superman leaves, saying that he is doing so since he knows Bruce has got this and he trusts Batman, whether he likes it or not. At Blackgate Prison, Pig is approached by a guard who knows the prisoners are not meant to be in the area Pig is in. Pig says that something is wrong with his hand, wanting the guard to take a look at his hand as it morphs into one of the boar's head, killing the guard as Pig looks to escape the prison. In Metropolis, Amina is approached by Mr. Toad, who removes his device from his neck to show that he is her father. He apologizes, not meaning for her to get mixed up in all of this. She hugs her father, asking where he's been, but all he will say is that he was trying to make things right. Suddenly, Superman zooms by, dropping a letter in the mailbox along with a signal watch, saying if the family should ever need any help, he'll be there.